Alright guys, just like the title says, I spent $100 on a rusty graphics card. Now, you don't typically get recommended buying rusty graphics cards. That's just not something you do. It's not a smart thing to do, but I figured, it's a 1080. I'm gonna pay for it and, whatever. What's the worst that can happen? I lose $100? Oh well. Yeah, $100. So, obviously I did not feel comfortable putting this into my test system, or any system actually, with a little bit of rust that it had on it. Any kind of rust on contacts can cause shortages, it can cause problems, it could even fry your motherboard. So the first thing that we need to do is probably clean this thing up. So let's take this apart. We started off by taking off all the screws and trying to get the fans out and the housing off and the heatsink off. Once I actually got everything off though, it didn't seem too bad on the inside. It was a lot worse on the outside than it was on the inside. Actually, on the inside, it was to the point where I felt a little bit more comfortable with it. So I felt like, okay, maybe I could plug this into a computer or just test this in some type of way. But no, I decided to go ahead and clean it anyways. So for this, I ended up using the same method that I used on a video from a while ago, where I brought a water damage RAM stick back to life. I got myself a little bit of 91% isopropyl alcohol and my nice brush like I'd used the last time, and then I ended up putting alcohol on the PCB directly and just started brushing the PCB with the alcohol. And then I kept brushing the PCB with the alcohol, and I kept brushing the PCB with the alcohol. I literally did this for over an hour, like constantly just brushing. Anywhere I thought that there could be some kind of liquid residue, or some kind of just like grime or anything. And as you can see from the video, I ended up using a plate so I could catch some of that stuff, and which you guys can see. There was a lot of gunk, not really gunk, but there was a lot of either dirt or rust coming off of it. Not really sure what it was, but even after brushing for over an hour, the rust on the worst parts did not come off. So I actually went out and looked for a little bit of really high grain, or really, I don't know what it's called, like sandpaper, but that's really smooth. I couldn't find anything. I don't know what I did with it. I went out and shit, could not find it. So I got a blade. Yeah. I ended up getting a really sharp blade and decided to put alcohol on the parts that the rust was on, and slowly and carefully scrape off the rust little by little and layer by layer until I got clean contacts, or as clean as I could get them. And yeah, you're pretty much kind of scraping the layer of just the gold plating off of it, which in this part I'm not too worried about, because it's not the PCIe part that I'm connecting to the board, it's the other part. But I still needed to clean this up because, like I said, any type of rust anywhere on the graphics card could cause problems later on. So after I ended up cleaning or scraping the rust off a little bit, I put it off to the side so it could dry off. I probably dried it off for like an hour and a half, about that. And it's not like the RAM that I ended up leaving overnight. This one was just for a little bit. I took the time to go ahead and clean the fans. I ended up washing the shroud, because the shroud was completely plastic. I wasn't gonna. I'm not worried about ruining it in water, but of course I made sure to leave it drying. I wiped it off, but I made sure to leave it air dry for a while, so I knew that it was actually dry, because the whole problem with this was that the thing had rust on it in the first place, so somebody spilled water on it in the first place, so why would I just put the shroud back on it? It doesn't make sense. With a little bit of new thermal paste, I was able to also save the thermal pads that were already in there. I thought I was going to have to replace those, but they actually looked like they were in pretty good shape. We put it back together, and well, do you think it worked? Should I plug it into my computer now? Alright, well, let's just do it. Got nothing else to lose aside from a chance of frying my computer and losing the $100 and not getting anything out of it except this video. Oh well, let's do it anyways. Yeah! After all that scraping and brushing, it's actually dry now, so I'm gonna stick it into my test bench over here and hope that it actually works. But first let me turn this off, and I was benchmarking a hard drive here. Oops. That's fine. You can take this off completely. No. Alright, so obviously water damage isn't something that anybody wants to deal with, definitely with electronics. But I've had pretty good success bringing back or making things work. That being RAM or SSDs or even graphics cards. So I'm feeling pretty good about this one as well. So the only thing that I'm scared of, if this does work, is the cooling. The reason why I was using a dual fan RX 580 is because of the cooling. I do like that. I have the same on my main PC, except it's a 1080 Ti with the dual fan. I've never been very fond of the blower style cards, but you know, if they're cheap enough, I'll buy them. And remember, guys, I only paid $100 for this, so if this works, then we should technically have gotten a good deal. Whew, let's plug it in. Alright, it's plugged into the HDMI, so here we go. Boop. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Please. Well, that sucks. We don't have a display. Alright, I guess I'm going to take it out and see if I can figure something else out. Alright, we have the fan is spinning. The fan is spinning, but I still don't have a display. Okay. I'm such an idiot. Okay, I'm pretty sure I just plugged in the VR headset. I'm not even lying right now. I'm not even joking right now. I am 100% sure I plugged in the VR headset. Because I saw a little light over there. Hold on. No way. They really just do that? Alright, fan spinning again. Do we get a display this time? I think I plugged... Yes! We got a signal! Yes, we got a signal! Oh my god. $100. We have a signal. Now, of course, I have to test it. Let me install the drivers. This is a 1080. Oh my god! These things still run like $350 right now, I think, used. So $100 for a 1080 is a really, really good deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish installing this driver because it is working right now, and then I'm gonna try to run some benchmarks maybe on it to make sure that everything is working properly. But I think we're good. Alright, so it worked. It turned on. After a small delay of stupidity on my part, it actually turned on. So do I recommend doing this yourself? Probably not, because I don't know how long this card is going to work. I don't feel comfortable giving it to anybody and telling them, oh yeah, this is going to be good. And I don't feel comfortable selling it to anybody else, learning later down the line that it went bad or it destroyed somebody's computer. So for now, I'm going to leave it in my system, and I'm going to use it because it is a 1080. The benchmarks went great. And I'm gonna use it up until it dies, I guess, because yeah, I mean, it's a 1080, whatever. It still plays like like AAA games at like high settings. So I think it was worth it. I really think it was worth it. For $100, hell yeah. Feel free to leave down in the comments, like, do you think that I did the right thing paying $100 for this? Do you think it's gonna go bad on me? Do you think it's gonna last a long time? Do you think I'm good? Like, I think I'll be good for at least a little while. I mean, I replaced an RX 580, so it was a pretty good improvement. But yeah, I would like to know what like your thoughts are about this, and would you do this yourself? Like, would you go out there and buy something that you know had some kind of water on it as an electronic? And do you think that you would spend the $100? Like, I'm curious to know. I mean, I make some dumb decisions in my life, but I think this one was an okay decision. I think it was alright. If you guys like this video, if it was informative, if it was just like, well, yay, just go ahead and subscribe and like the video. Please share it. It does help the channel out. It is growing slightly better now, so I am kind of glad. So please, thanks again for being here, and hopefully I have some more content for you, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks again. Peace out. That was kind of whack. I'm old. I mean.